Hello everyone, welcome back to Kanga TV, the home of North Melbourne fans. In today's video, we've got a little update from our controversial midfielder, Will Phillips, and if 2025 is the breakout year we have all been waiting for. It's fair to say that Will Phillips has been the centre of many discussions since the day he was drafted to North Melbourne. He was taken with pick 3 in the 2020 draft, despite North's desperate need for a second tall forward to work alongside Nick Larkey, which 4 years later still seems to be an issue. We overlooked Logan McDonald, Western Australian born forward Logan McDonald, and opted to draft Phillips instead. McDonald went the pick later with pick 4 to Sydney, and ever since we decided to recruit Phillips amongst a plethora of midfielders that we already had, there has been a lot of pressure on Phillips to step up and deliver to that pick 3 price tag that we paid. And I would say there's been a lot of question marks around whether he has been able to live up to that expectation. While it's obviously not his choice or his fault that he was taken with pick 3, that is sort of the pressure that comes with being an AFL player and being a high prize recruit as he was, especially to a club like North Melbourne, which has been at the bottom of the ladder for quite some time and has really needed its young, exciting, elite talent to step up. Now, Will Phil did play quite a few games in 2021 before sitting out the entirety of 2022 with glandular fever. But even in the 3 seasons of football that he has played, and that glandular fever is now 24 months on from that, he hasn't really been able to cement a spot in the best 22. He's shown glimpses here and there that he is capable of matching it with the elite and, deserving of a spot in the best 22, but he hasn't been able to do that consistently. I don't know if it's a real chicken and egg sort of thing. Maybe he hasn't shown enough to warrant a chunk of games, but then on the flip side, maybe if he had 6 to 8 games, a boost of confidence. He seems like quite a confidence player and that he needs to get a bit of a run on to be able to back it up week in, week out with that good form. So I'm not really sure if he needs the game time to be able to prove himself or he needs to prove himself to get that game time. And it's sort of been in and out for majority of his career. He hasn't hit 50 games yet. He's sitting at about 43 at the end of season 2024. And for most of 2024, it was really unclear as to what the future held for Will Phillips. He was out of contract at the end of 2024. It seemed like he potentially had found a spot for himself as a tagger midway through the season. You can't forget the incredible performance on Nick Dacos against Collingwood in round 14. He basically shut Dacos out of the game, which was quite a remarkable performance. He did back that up a week later against Melbourne on Clayton Oliver, but besides that, it's really been dribs and drabs. Will Phillips wasn't alone playing a tagger lockdown role in the midfield in 2024. Liam Shields was the other player who was playing that sort of negating pressure shutdown role, and when he retired at the end of 2024, it sort of seemed like a natural fit that maybe Will Phillips would step up and take his place. However, in the off-season, North identified the need for maturity and for senior players and for some leadership, and therefore going and recruiting a handful of senior players, including Luke Parker, who it seemed like he would probably slot straight back into the midfield. We also do have the likes of Jai Simpkin, we've got LDU, George Wardlaw, Harry Sheasel, Tom Powell, a bunch of guys in a pretty stacked midfield. Colby McKercher, who'll probably look to now push further up the ground. So where does that leave Will Phillips? Well, Will Phillips did re-sign a 1-year contract at the end of the 2024 season, and it seems to be this might be his last chance to really push into the side and to make a case for himself as the fact that he should play senior footy consistently week in, week out. He's got a lot to prove. The club have to work with him to try and find a position for him and to find something that makes it work. The tagger role seemed to be a great move for him, but for some reason it wasn't enough to keep him in the side for the second half of 2024. So what does the future hold for Will Phillips? I think he's a great guy. I think that he is someone that is great to have around the club, and I know that you need to translate that into on-field performances as well, but in a club that has been sitting at the bottom of the ladder for quite some time, it is really important to have good people at the club and at the helm. Pre-season is just around the corner. We are almost ready to go. A few of the North players have been spotted back at Arden Street early, and Will Phillips is one of those players. The club did release some photos yesterday from training, and this is what Will Phillips has returned to training looking like. Now, if that doesn't scream redemption story, if that doesn't scream I'm ready to train the house down, if that doesn't scream I am going all in on what seems to be my last opportunity to make it at North Melbourne at AFL level, then I don't know what does. He looks like he is absolutely ripping and raring to go. It was great to see him back early. He was actually at the women's football last weekend against the Suns as well, so it's great to have him back at the club, and it seems like he's really ready to rock and roll and set 2025 on fire. But those are just my thoughts, and now I'd love to hear from you. What do you think 2025 holds for Will Phillips? Do you think it's going to be the breakout year we have all been waiting for, or do you think this is just the beginning of the end of his time at North Melbourne? Leave all of your comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We can continue the conversation over on social media. It's Kanga TV Show on Instagram and X. I look forward to seeing you guys very, very soon.